Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to our Surah series where we explore the Quran in depth, connecting its guidance to our daily lives, and we'll try to apply its important lessons to the modern day context. So, we have so far covered the failures of Bani Israel and why they lost Allah's favor, and the legacy of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, and how Islam follows his pure monotheistic path, and the transition of spiritual leadership from Bani Israel to the Muslim Ummah. So now we move on to one of the most important section of Surah Al-Baqarah. That's the revelation of divine laws that define Islam as a complete way of life. Now, why does Islam have laws? Islam is not just, a set of beliefs. It's complete system of life that shapes how we pray and worship. That means our connection with Allah, how we interact with others, that's related to our character and the ethics, and how we earn and spend money, that's the economic justice, and how we handle family, marriage, and relationship, that's the social stability aspect. And we seek justice in war and peace. That's about fairness and human rights. So if you look at this, Islam, in fact, covers everything, right? And these laws basically ensure a just, balanced, and a very well disciplined society. Unlike man-made laws, which changes with time, Allah's laws are eternal and perfect, and it is everlasting. In fact, it is applicable in every situation also. So if you look at the key areas of Islamic law, which comes in Surah Al-Baqarah, that's first related to, the change in Qibla. That's the new spiritual worship leadership, okay, spiritual leadership, and then the five pillars of Islam, the foundation of worship, and then about Halal and Haram, that's the divine framework of purity, and then business and economic ethics. So that's related to justice in trade and wealth, and then the laws of marriage, divorce, and of course the family life, and then jihad and the rules of war and peace, and then the final covenant is the obedience to Allah's laws that lead to success. So all these we will be covering in this session. So we'll start with the change of Qibla. That's a new spiritual leadership. Why did Allah change the Qibla? See, for the first 16 to 17 months after Hijrah, Muslims, prayed towards Jerusalem. That's where Masjid al-Aqsa, right? And that's the direction of prayer for Bani Israel. Then Allah commanded that the, Qibla can be changed to the Kaaba in Makkah. That's the house built by Ibrahim alayhi salam, and that we discussed in the previous session. So the deeper meaning behind this change, if you look at it, it was not just about the direction. It's about the leadership and responsibility. The Jews of Medina, they refused to accept Prophet as a messenger. So by turning towards the Kaaba, Allah signified that the spiritual leadership was being transferred from Bani Israel to the Muslim Ummah. So here the key lesson, if you see, leadership is not given by birthright. It is given to those who obey Allah's commands. And then Makkah is not just a historical place, it is the heart of Islam and the unity of all believers. Now, let's discuss about the five pillars of Islam. That's the foundation of worship. First one, Salah, the prayer, right? So that's actually a lifeline to Allah. Salah is more than just a set of physical movements, and it's a direct conversation with Allah. It trains the soul to be disciplined, patient, and with good conscience. Right. And of course, collective consciousness, collective conscience, and of course, God conscious. Right. So all these are part of the Salah. And the more we pray, the stronger our connection with Allah becomes, and the direct connect and the bond that we can make with Allah. And if you look at the lesson here, without Salah, our faith becomes weak. And a life without prayer is a life without any direction. Now coming to, fasting, Sawm. That's a shield against the desires. Fasting is not just about hunger, it's about self-discipline and self-purification. It trains the soul and mind to resist, temptations, and teaches patience and gratitude. So a person who can control his food and desires definitely can control his life, and that's the idea here. So fasting is a test of character actually, and it teaches us empathy as we experience the hunger of the poor. So you are experiencing the hunger, so you can empathize with the poor. They are regularly facing that. Now coming to Zakah, that's the charity, that's a duty, and not an option. Okay, so Islam does not see wealth as a privilege, but wealth as a responsibility to help others, those who are underprivileged and downtrodden. So zakah is ensuring that the wealth of society is distributed fairly. So a society where the rich gives to the poor, that create harmony and not hatred. So Islam is not, talking about wealth accumulation for someone, rather it talking about distribution fairly and equitably. So that create harmony and that avoid any kind of hatred and a unity kind of societies Islam is talking about. So a person who hoards wealth without giving is a spiritually sick person. That's what you can understand, and that's the major lesson here. And zakah, in fact, purifies not just wealth but also your heart. So again, the next one we talk about is Hajj. That's the journey of submission. Millions of Muslims from all over the world gather in one place at one time and in one uniform ihram. So it's a reminder of equality before Allah, right? And it's everyone is equal in front of Allah, and there is no difference between whether you are rich or poor, whether your skin is white or black or anything. It's a clear, stark reminder of equality before Allah, and everyone will be equal in front of Allah. And Hajj symbolizes submission to Allah, just as Ibrahim alayhi salam submitted. You remember we discussed in the previous session, and Hajj is a reminder that life is short and we are only travelers in this world. And it unites all Muslims under one faith. As I told you, everybody is equal in front of Allah. And let's also talk about quickly halal and haram, and that's a divine system of purity. Islam provides clear guidelines on what is lawful, which is haram, and what is unlawful, which is haram. A lawful halal, sorry, by mistake, I exchanged this. Lawful, it's halal, and unlawful, which is haram. And that too, in each and every aspect of life, it's very well clearly defined. When it comes to food, certain foods such as pork and alcohol are forbidden because they are harmful to health and the soul. You think about this, alcohol consumption is injurious to health, which is directly described over there. So Islam prohibited this much, much before, directly in Quran. Earnings, income earned through cheating, bribery, gambling, or interest-based loans is haram in Islam. So that's unlawful and haram. So again, if you look at relationships, adultery, fornication, right, and that destroys family and society, Islam strictly forbids them. So adultery, in fact, it comes under criminal law also. It has been taken out and then added again. So all these are there in the modern society as well. So everything forbidden in Islam is harmful in some way. If you look at it, you will be able to understand whether it is pork or alcohol, this is forbidden. Cheating, bribery, gambling, right? All these have, definitely a negative dimension. The adultery or fornication, right? Again, following halal, that brings peace of mind and, blessings also from Allah. So that's something which definitely any Muslim have to follow. That should be part of the lifestyle, the halal lifestyle. That means lawful life. That's it, simply, and submitting to Allah. And again, when it comes to business and the economic ethics, Islam always talk about trade, but trade with honesty. Islam encourage definitely trade and business, but with strict honesty and fairness. Riba, that means usury and interest. The usury means high rate of interest, is strictly prohibited and forbidden because it exploits the poor and make the rich even richer. Again, cheating, fraud, and the deception, these will destroy the trust and brings destruction to human mankind, right? So that's why Islam forbidden all these, and wealth earned through haram will never bring true happiness and peace of mind. So when it comes to Islam, success in business comes from honesty and integrity. That's why Islam promote trade and any kind of business, but it should be with honesty. Then coming to the laws of marriage, divorce, and family life, Islam clearly mark boundaries and clear guidelines is there. Islam see marriage as sacred bond of love, respect, and responsibility. So divorce is allowed, but definitely it is discouraged. It is allowed because if two individuals cannot live together happily, then that's the only way. But whenever it is possible, it is discouraged. It should only be done with dignity and justice. So women's rights are protected through financial security and fair treatment in Islam. A strong family is actually the foundation for a strong society, and that's why Islam is very clear with respect to family, marriage, divorce, and everything, and the clear guidelines are there. Mutual respect, patience, and faith that keep the marriage successful, and Islam always talk about this. And freedom of women, the modern society that talk about the freedom of women, that is there in Islam and Quran much before. Coming to the next one, that is related to jihad and the rules of war and peace. Jihad is not about aggression, it's about defending justice. Even in war, if you see, Islam prohibit killing innocent people, destroying trees, animals, and the crops, and any kind of breaking of peace treaties. All these are prohibited in Islam, even in wars. So Islam promote peace and justice. Islam is a religion of peace and justice and fairness and not oppression. So war is only allowed when there is no other way to protect human rights, and that too allowed only to protect the human rights. Okay, and in conclusion, what I can tell you is the laws of Islam are a mercy for humanity. So Islamic laws are designed for our benefit, our well-being, and not for our hardship. So following these rules and the laws, that actually brings success in this life and other world, the hereafter also. And if you ignore them, that can lead to chaos, corruption, moral decay. So that is something which is not desirable. So we don't follow these laws because we fear punishment, right? We follow them because they are the path to true happiness and success. So in my opinion, why you want to follow this? If you want peace of mind in this world, if you want success in this world, if you want true happiness in this world, you definitely have to follow. And not just because you are afraid of Allah or you are afraid of other world punishment. You have to follow this because this is going to make you happy in this world. So that's about this session. May Allah bless us all. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, don't forget to share it with your friends and give a comment and a like also. Thank you so much.